Welcome back to Joe's Motoventure. So a few weeks ago I made a video cleaning up the battery tender cable on my 24 Road Glide, and I made a mistake. So I wanted to give a quick update on that, and I know that was a really popular video. A lot of people had mentioned trying it themselves or even wanting to buy brackets from me, which I'm not currently set up to be able to do, but I wanted to make sure that I got everybody up to speed and prevent somebody else from making the same mistake I did. I'll show you what I had. So this is the bracket that I made, and I got this extension cable from Amazon. I routed the battery tender cable up through here. If you want to see more detail about it, I'll link the original video below. But basically, I had this bracket made to fit the bolt there for the saddlebag guard. Well, the saddlebag support. I've since added these guards. And I just totally blanked on accounting for the swing of the swing arm. So you can actually see there's a couple dings there in the swing arm, and so basically it came up and it hit the bracket and bent it. So obviously that's not going to work. I've since flattened the bracket back out, and I've been looking at different ways to accomplish this still, because I do like the idea, and so I wanted to come up with a better way to do it that you know, we can still accomplish the same thing with the same materials, the same extension cable. I mentioned in the other video, I think it was $11 for 2 of these cables, so it's a really affordable option to be able to just clean some things up and not have that original tender cable that just flops around on top of the transmission. So what I'm looking at today, what I think will work, I added these heat deflectors, and there'll be a video coming about that, and then another video about the saddlebag guards. I'm just waiting on the matching engine guard to come in for that. But I think I can actually still use the same bracket, so I'm going to clean it up. And I had this 90-degree bend in here, and it was made to go over the bracket here on the bike to keep this from being able to turn. But what I've found is up inside here behind this heat shield, actually the bottom mounting hole for that heat shield, if I cut that 90-degree off, I can actually use the same hole and everything and mount it under there. So if you don't have these side covers, there's a hole in the frame here that is hex shaped. So these side covers actually come with this nut that you put in from the front, and it just fits that hex shape. And so if you don't have the side covers, which I recommend because they do a lot to prevent the heat from rising up between your thighs. These Milwaukee 8s run hot, especially with a factory tune. They're tuned very lean, which makes the bike run hotter. And this is all still factory motor, factory tune. Plan on fixing that down the road, but for the time being, these side covers really help. But if you don't have them, you could just put a, snake a nut up in behind there and put a regular bolt through there and tighten it down. So it's a little bit harder to get to than what I had over here, but it's still on the high side of the bike, which I wanted. And it's more tucked away now, so it'll actually be a cleaner look. I don't have to worry about the rotation of the bracket with this, even though I'm only using one hole to mount it, because where the harness will go through, the body of this harness actually will sit in between the factory harness and the frame and all, and it just won't be able to move. So you can see this harness is actually, it bent the plastic a little bit, but it didn't crack anything, and so I'm going to straighten that back out. And so I'm going to get this bracket modified for what I need for this spot, and then clean it up and repaint it, and I'll bring you back and show it actually on the bike. Alright, so I got the bracket cleaned up. I was able to use the same mounting hole. I just cut that tab off and rounded it over, and so it'll mount up in there like that. When I get the finished product, I'll try to get some more light in here so it's a little bit easier to see. And then the cable will just come up through here, feed up behind here, and then plug in right there. So I think it's going to work out, and obviously I don't have this bolted up right now, but once it's in there it should sit nice and flush. I could turn it around, I haven't decided yet. That way it might look a little bit better. I'm gonna get it painted and then show you the final result. So there's the final product. It's tucked up in there nice. I opted to have the cover swing that way. And then I routed it up through here, and then up behind these lines here and plugged in here. So this can still tuck in just like I showed in my other video. And now I don't have to worry about it hitting anything. Thankfully it didn't damage anything, it just scratched the swing arm a little bit. But you know, lesson learned. I don't know why I totally just didn't even think about the swing arm, you know, moving. This is part of making, I don't really want to say custom because it's a little bracket, but you know, making unique parts for things is sometimes you try something and it doesn't work. There it is with the side cover on there, and it's tucked up in there nice, still super easy to get to. So I'm pretty happy with that, and that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.